Hey guys, welcome to Cricalytics. In this video, we'll be comparing the performance of Virat Kohli and Kane Williamson in test matches under different unique scenarios to find out who has been a better test batsman overall. So, let's get to it. As you know, the recently concluded home series for New Zealand versus Pakistan has seen two historic events happening for the first time. Not only did New Zealand become the number one ranked team, but the series also saw Kane Williamson leapfrogging Virat Kohli and Steve Smith to gain the number one position. With Kane Williamson jumping to the number one position, the comparisons have already started to float in with two of the modern era great test batsmen, which are Virat Kohli and Steve Smith. Kane Williamson and Virat Kohli are strength of pillars for their respective teams. The performance of New Zealand, for example, is highly dependent on how Kane Williamson performs. Similarly, the performance of Indian team is dependent on how Virat Kohli performs. So wouldn't it be interesting to see the performance of these two players when we compare them under different unique scenarios? That is the reason we'll be comparing their performance under 5 unique scenarios. The scenarios include 1. Their performance at home. Secondly, their performance in SCA countries, which includes South Africa, England and Australia. Thirdly, their performance against top ranked teams. Fourthly, their performance against low ranked teams. And fifth, their performance in the last 3 years. But before we get into the actual comparison, let us look at some interesting stats regarding both the players. It is interesting to note that Virat Kohli as well as Kane Williamson were born in the same era, and they also started playing test cricket in the same time period. While Virat Kohli was born in 1988, he started playing test cricket from 2011. Williamson, on the other hand, was born in 1990 and he started playing test cricket in 2010. Interestingly, the record is also quite similar. For example, Virat Kohli has played a total of 87 matches and 147 innings as of today, whereas Williamson has played a total of 82 matches and 144 innings as of today. They have a similar number of runs, their total number of matches are quite similar, their average is also similar. However, it is those minute details that we don't want to miss out when we drill down their stats under different unique scenarios. Talking about their performance at home, Virat Kohli has scored a total of 3,558 runs from 60 innings at a fabulous average of 68.4. His highest score of 254 came at home against South Africa in the 2019 series. At home, Virat Kohli has a total of 13 centuries, which is just one less than his total of 14 away centuries. Virat Kohli's consistency stands at 51%, whereas his low scores stand at 36.2%. To Williamson, his performance at home is equally better with 3,788 runs from 66 innings at an average of 64.2. His best two came at home against West Indies in December 2020 when he scored a fabulous 251 runs. Similar to Virat, Williamson has 13 centuries at home, but that's 2 more than his away centuries. Meanwhile, Williamson's consistency stands at 59.4%, whereas his low scores stand at 33.3%, both better than Virat Kohli. So comparing their performance at home, while Virat Kohli has a better average and has a better highest score against a quality opponent, Kane Williamson edges him in terms of consistency and low scores. As you know, a player's true potential is recognized when they perform against quality opponents and on quality pitches. Hence, in this scenario, we'll be comparing the performance of Virat Kohli and Kane Williamson on neutral venues of South Africa, England and Australia. Virat Kohli has played a total of 55 innings in SCA countries and he has scored a total of 2,637 runs at an average of 47.9, which is actually good. He has been good in Australia and South Africa, averaging over 54, and somewhat decent in England, averaging 36. Overall, in SCA countries, his consistency stands at 45.5% and his low scores stand at 36.4%. Talking about the world number 1 Kane Williamson's record in SCA countries, you would be slightly surprised. Kane Williamson has scored only 931 runs from 29 innings at an average of 34.5, which is almost 19 less than his overall career average. he has only 650 plus scores in SEA countries. His consistency stands bad at 25% and his low scores is very high at 64.2%. This just shows that he has got out early quite a good number of times. Comparing the performance of both the players in SEA countries, you would notice that Kohli has a better average, has a better consistency, and his low scores is also less as compared to Kane Williamson. While performance in SEA countries is important, performance against top ranked teams is equally important. So, in this scenario, we'll be comparing the performance of Virat Kohli and Kane Williamson against top ranked teams. So, for Kohli, we have taken the teams like South Africa, England, New Zealand and Australia, whereas for Williamson, we have taken the teams like India, South Africa, England and Australia. If we look at the stats, Virat Kohli has been equally good against all 4 teams, averaging close to 50 against each one of them. Overall, he has scored 5100 runs from 108 innings at an average of 51, a consistency of 43.4% and low scores of 42.5%. Which I believe is slightly on the higher side. But interesting to note that 18 of his 2100s have come against quality opponent teams. For Kane Williamson, stats don't look as good as they look for Virat Kohli. Williamson's best performance has come against South Africa, where he has an average of 47.5. However, against Australia, England and India, this average stands at 41.1, 43.7 and 36.4 respectively. Overall, Williamson has scored a total of 2,835 runs from 73 innings at an average of 41.7, a consistency of 34.7 and low scores of 51.4%. Comparing the stats of Virat Kohli and Kane Williamson against top-ranked teams, you would see that Kohli has been a consistent performer against all the teams, whereas Williamson has been a good performer against South Africa but has been below par against England, Australia and India. Now, the performance against low-ranked teams like Pakistan, Sri Lanka, West Indies, Bangladesh and Zimbabwe may not matter much. However, it helps us understand how these 2 legends have performed against these teams and what percentage of overall record has been contributed by performance against low-ranked teams. Talking about Virat Kohli's performance against low-ranked teams, he has played a total of 39 innings, has scored a total of 2,218 runs with a stunning average of 59.9, a consistency of 48.7% and low scores of 41%, which surprisingly is again on the higher side. Meanwhile, Kane Williamson has played a total of 71 innings against low-ranked teams, that is almost 50% of his overall innings contribution. In this 71 innings, Kane has scored a fabulous 4,280 runs at a mind-boggling average of 67.9, a consistency of 60.6% and low scores of just 28.2%. If you compare the performance of Virat Kohli and Kane Williamson against low-ranked teams, you would see that Virat Kohli's performance is actually very good. However, Kane Williamson is a step ahead with a better consistency, better average and better low scores percentage. Moving on to the last category, let us compare the performance of Virat Kohli and Kane Williamson in the last 3 years. Talking about Virat Kohli's performance in the last 3 years, he has scored a total of 2,050 runs from 41 innings at an average of 52.6, a consistency of 48.8% and low scores of 39%. In last 3 years, his record at home is quite exceptional with 637 runs at an average of 106. However, his away record is slightly below par with 1,413 runs at an average of 42.8. Kane Williamson, on the other hand, has scored a total of 1,901 runs from 31 innings at an average of 67.9. His consistency stands at 48.4% and his low scores stand at 32.3%. However, it is interesting to note that during the same time period, Williamson's away performance has been below par with 467 runs at an average of 38.9. Concluding the analysis, while Virat Kohli and Kane Williamson may have a similar performance overall in test matches, their comparison is hidden in the details. They are very much similar at home with equally good performances. Their last 3 years' performance is also very similar and actually very good. However, Virat Kohli edges Williamson with a superb performance in SEA countries and against top-ranked teams, whereas Williamson has a better performance against low-ranked teams. So who do you think has been a better performer? Is it Virat Kohli or is it Kane Williamson? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Finally, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give a thumbs up and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Cheers!